Welcome to Elevating La Cultura podcast, a space where I talk with Latinas who are passionate about what they do and are willing to share their passion with others to change the narrative, especially for the next generation. Each season is centered around different topics, but all with a Latina perspective. This is season 6, and it's going to be featuring Latinas in the food space. I hope this season is inspiring and perhaps even nostalgic as we hear stories we can relate to. I'm so excited to share these stories and talk about food. So vámonos, and let's get into it. Hola, today we are in for something special. I have two guests today from a company I've admired since I first learned about them. I'm chatting with co-founder and COO of Big Mich, a beverage company that specializes in fresh michelada mix. We have an amazing conversation, so please enjoy. Hello, I am with two guests today. We get a special treat. I'm talking with Danny and Nathalie from Big Mich. I have been fans for years, and I am just so excited to be able to talk to them here for the podcast and really get into their business, their company, and their brand. So before we get all the way into it, why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Okay. First and foremost, thanks for inviting us to be a part of this. We're really excited. We love what you do. We love your message. My name is Nathalie Solis. I am the co-founder of Big Mich Inc., which is a michelada company and a beverage company. We've been doing it for about 5 years, and we make a fresh michelada mix that a person can make at home. It's like if you were to go to your favorite bar and your bartender was to make your favorite michelada and put it in their jar. So that's what we do, and yeah.
Yeah. I'm Danny. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Big Mich. So I help Natalie and Javi run the day to day, and make sure that the brand and the message is getting across correctly. So yeah, that's kind of it.
I know that I first tasted your products in 2020 when we were staying home and I was trying to do things at home. And I fell in love with the taste and was really thankful that I could find it in my local store. But I'd love to know when this whole idea started and what you thought about it when Javi said he wanted to start this business.
It kind of happened very organically. So a year after Javi and I got married, he started selling it a little bit, like about 6 months after actually. We made our own michelada mix for our guests, and our guests kept complimenting us. Our family was like, "Hey, can I have some mix? Like, it was so good. Like, can you make that again?" And around the time Javi's my husband, by the way. He started it. These are his recipes that he develops. Um, Always been a talented guy in the hospitality industry for like over 15 years, and this is kind of what he does. So he was kind of getting burnt out at his other job, and I said, like, we've always wanted to be entrepreneurs. Like, we always wanted to start our own business, but we didn't know where or what that was going to end up being. But it was kind of always there. I used to do makeup on the side, and he used to do DJing on the side. So we always had like side gigs. It's just who we were. But he's like, I think I'm gonna sell michelada mix. I have $600, so he spent all that money on jars, ingredients. At the time, there was not even a label created, but he already had kind of developed a name for it, and just kind of from the get-go developed the vision for the company. So we started selling it out of the house, like a hobby sauce, they call it. And then people started sharing on Snapchat, like, look what I got. And then Javi ended up getting a label for it. And it's like funny, like those Avery labels that wash away with water, and obviously like not very, super professional, but people loved it and they kept sharing, and it became like a word of mouth thing for about 5 months, all summer. So we still have customers that say like, "Hey, I used to come to your house to pick up," but then eventually, El Vicio Liquors in Cicero ended up picking us up the product, even though I wasn't necessarily 100% ready. They were willing to. They trusted us, and they trusted Javi, and took the product on the shelf, and it started selling. And then it started spreading word of mouth through other liquor stores. Like, hey, our customers are loving this one. You should carry it. Obviously they amongst themselves are like, hey, we make a good profit margin off of this. Let me, sell it. So it grew to like 30 liquor store and grocery store accounts within, I think, the first year. And we were like barely able to keep up with this process. And Danny, we've been friends for many, many years, basically out of high school. Um, and he had his full-time job, and he would come after like 6 p.m. to come and help us make product and push it forward because he saw what we were doing, and it was always interested in, like, he already worked for a startup. Maybe you could talk about this later. But this was like another opportunity where, like, oh, my friend and her husband, who he likes, are doing this. So
It helps, yeah.
it took about what? How many years till you became full-time?
Maybe about a year and a half.
A year and a half.
Yeah, about a year and a half.
Yeah. So yeah. And now we're in about 300 plus stores, restaurants, grocery stores, and liquor stores. And we do online shipping as well. We know our product has been as far as Hawaii, Canada. And somebody told us they shipped our michelada mix to their family member who was stationed in Afghanistan at the time. So it's pretty cool to know that our product, our culture, and everything like that. Like, I just can picture that soldier having a michelada, like a straight up Mexican product, Mexican American at this, because it's our product at this point. In Afghanistan, like, it's just crazy to me.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about how, and maybe Danny, you can answer this, how you saw the company grow and how it's been able to be sustained, especially with such fast growth. Because, like you said, 30 stores in the first year, like,
Yeah.
that is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes when we look back now, we're just like, damn, how did we do that? And now we think of it in much bigger numbers. Like 30 stores to me now, while we're very grateful for them, it's like we're thinking of hundreds of stores now. Like it's kind of the perspective's always evolving with Big Mich. So I think that's the one thing that's been able to sustain growth is that we've always kind of tried to grow with it in some capacity. Like we always been ready, and we made mistakes for sure.
Yeah,
But
we
for the
always
most
invest
part,
everything back into it.
yeah,
Like,
always.
okay, more accounts needs a new van, so then we have to like start shopping at
Another
dealerships for a
person.
new fleet kind of vehicle for delivery or hiring somebody. So we try to keep up as much as possible.
And yeah, we try to learn as much as possible too. I mean,
Yeah.
we come from different backgrounds, and I was blessed enough to come from a background from another startup company, and I was kind of able to learn at least the foundation of a business and take that with me. And then when I saw Nathalie and Javi doing this, I'm like, man, like,
What are they doing?
yeah, what a disaster. But it was it was awesome. It was good to be able to jump in with their open mind, and with trusting me. Trust goes a long way, and saying, hey, we need to do this, and this needs to happen, and they usually always listen, and we always kind of work together to figure out and problem solve. So it's been awesome.
I want to say, I
good
think
friends.
maybe something that attracted you to working for us or with us now, is that we made sure to try to keep record of all the data since day one, really. So I think that kind of enabled a little bit of like, all right, so they're gonna try to build something stable, something solid, an actual company, meant to grow.
It's true. We did. They got very granular with the data, and we were able to come in and revamp the whole operation. Not it wasn't really the whole thing was the michelada market didn't exist, so we were really able to carve out this entire sector and really lead the entire front for other brands to come. There's more brands on the shelf. There's brands that have come and gone since we've started. We're still seeing other brands pop up here and there. So the competition is actually healthy. You want them to still think that there is a competitive market there for your brand or your product, because that tells that there's growth there. There's a demand. So because of that, brands continue to thrive, and the messaging behind Big Mich is strong, and we continue to evolve the marketing and really grow with the audience and still try to stay true to micheladas and what we think they should be.
Talking about growth and competition and other companies, how have you grown in the development of your recipes? Did you start with everything that you offer now, or have you slowly added on?
Yeah, we slowly have added on. The first one was our OG classic, is what we think a proper michelada should taste like. It's all of our products have a clamato base. So to us, that's like the most traditional thing for a michelada is clamato. We actually import it from Mexico. It tastes a little bit better than the one from here. It's a different manufacturer.
I believe it.
And then we came out with another flavor because people, this one was going really well. And so naturally, Javi just wanted to come up with another flavor. We did tamarindo. And then we did our best seller yet, which was pepino, which is really fresh. We actually peel and puree cucumber and add that to the recipe. And then we decided to do a piña mango, and then we do seasonal ones like our smoky limon. We have a Bloody Mary. We just did a smoked peaches. So we have fun with it for sure. And each recipe has its own different ingredients. It's not just like one base with an added fruit. No, it's really thought out, carefully measured, and that it's the best. We want to make sure that our customers see Big Mich and trust that it's going to be a great product. And it's slow, yeah. It's been like a slow growth. I mean, in terms of that, like not. We started with the three solid, and then piña mango really inspired us to continue doing more flavors, right?
Yeah.
Seasonal releases. Piña mango was only for the summer, but it was such a high demand that we just kept it in forever, you know. Um, we've even done like smaller size jars. We offer bigger ones for restaurants, and it's we just always try to make sure that we're pivoting and we're keeping our customers happy.
I think that is so key when you have a business. I think of the Latina community and how it is so like tight knit, and like we want to be able to like listen to our customers, listen to what they need, and also help them out, you know? Like, so I know that you source your ingredients locally.
Yeah.
How did you partner with all of your local vendors?
So initially, okay, so when you want to buy wholesale, you need like all these paperwork and you need to show that you're an approved business. And in our first year, we didn't do that yet. Like, I don't, yeah, it's like we didn't have the LLC right away. We did not know how to apply for like our Illinois tax revenue and our state sales tax code, all that stuff. I didn't know like how to do it. I was a little bit intimidated. Eventually we got it. But before then, it's known like in Pilsen there's like this big like warehouses where they sell food wholesale. So we would go to these, and they're all Latino owned. They're mostly Mexican owned, and they're just people who import products from Mexico, majority. And we just would go and say like, "Hey, I don't have an account, but I have cash. Can I buy from you?" And they're like, "Of course." So, and then that's just kind of how it started. So we've always kind of loved the idea of just keeping it within the community and helping each other out and helping each other grow and succeed and jump off the struggle bus. So I know that keeping the dollar in the community is extremely important to us personally. So our produce comes from local people. Like even within the vendors, like we're always again we have to look for the best price and look for the biggest discounts. So we have relationships with multiple vendors that are Latino owned. Um, and then our guy who makes our shirt is Latino. The people who make our labels, I don't think they're Latino, but they are locally Chicago, medium-sized business.
He's a minority owned, yeah.
Yeah, minority-owned business. Just like that. I mean, occasionally we do have to get like the wholesale stuff, like our glass jars and things like that. But eventually, I would love to, just have everything, uh, within the community. So yeah, that's just super important to what we stand for. Like his shirt says "para la gente," so it means for the people. Like Big Mich is for the people. Like the FUBU brand, for us, by us. That's something that I love to embrace for us. You know.
Yeah, I was gonna comment on the shirt. I love it, and I love that you have created this brand. I'd love to hear about what it really means for the company as a whole, like maybe internally as well, and then the importance of creating this brand for the community.
Do you want to start on it,
Yeah,
or
I
do
was
you
going
want
to
to?
say, well, internally, I know that we have mental health is very important to us and the people that we work with. So something we do is we advocate for mental health days. Like every 90 days, we pay everyone on the team like a personal day for them to just decompress. You know, sometimes that mental instability can come at any time. So we're very cognizant of that. We know people perform at their best when they're, feeling healthy mentally and physically. So that's something that's very important to us. So that's what radiates to all of our coworkers at Big Mich. So Nelly and Javi obviously have curated this environment where I can, also be able to benefit from it, but more importantly, like give it to the team too. So it's very important that we have that.
Yeah, any as like within inside like the culture, like I hope that everyone like knows that they're supported, encouraged. Like we offer benefits, and as a small company, it's hard to sometimes, but we do because I know that I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my team. Shout out to my team. We have about what 10 team
Yeah,
members.
that's fine.
Yeah, 11. I don't know, something.
Around there.
um. So yeah. And the brand, right? On the like outside, like what does it mean? So Big Mich came about for several reasons. Michoacan. My husband is Javi's from Michoacan. I'm from Zacatecas. Shout out Zacatecas. But Mich. So like people are like, oh, where you from? He's like, I'm from Big Mich. Like that's kind of one of was the things. Second is like the Rick Ross, like blowing money fast. Have you heard the song? Like I think I'm Big Mich. So that to me kind of like I love that song, but like it encompasses like my more American side. Like like we're Mexican Americans. Like this is what we listen to. Like we love hip hop, Big Meat. We love that song. That was like another plus to it, and just like the simplicity of BIG MICH, very simple thing. I just it just had this like ring to it. I think that would be easily fit in many situations and or just an approachable type brand. But the brand is for us, by us. A big part of my push or why I enjoy selling micheladas is because to me, a michelada represents a very authentic Mexican drink. But it's very universal because it's para la cruda for the hangover, and it's fresh. So before Big Meat, I personally didn't see any fresh michelada mixes on the shelf. I really only saw like a beer salt or something that can withstand the shelf for like over 2 years. Um, and that was about it, collecting dust on the shelf. I didn't see anything fresh like Big Meat or so me and Javi, when we put it into Vicio and it was just going off the shelves, it was really an amazing feeling. And it confirmed to us the market is there and it's needed. And it also shows us that people prefer a fresh product over a non-fresh product. Like I think that Mexican gastronomy and culinary is like one of the best in the entire world. I could be biased, but it's so amazing. And we use like fresh citrus so much. We use fresh food so much. Like we know what fresh tastes like. And there's other products out there on the market that's like meant for us, but it's just not good, and or like the labeling on there or the marketing is just very like outdated. It's like a cartoonish lizard with a sombrero on, or it's just like kind of fake or just not necessarily embodying like me as a millennial Latino who grew up with great food taste and fresh food, but also like I love good packaging. I'm a sucker for good packaging too. I'm a consumer too, and who grew up here. So I feel like Big Meat is able to embody like our traditions and our culture, but also put it in like a cute jar and like a little mason jar, and that's like the millennial side of me coming out. So I really hope that people can relate to the brand and feel comfortable And just be proud of Big Mich, because I want people to feel like, all right, this is para la gente. Like this is us right here. Like I'm gonna enjoy this michelada, and overall it's fun. It's drinking. It's delicious.
For sure. I know that I grew up in the south suburbs of Chicago and then I went to school in Michigan and I did not really eat Mexican food because I knew what Mexican food tasted like. Like I would eat it when we would come to Chicago and go to Pilsen and when I was in Mexico with my family. And I didn't really go to these Mexican restaurants in the suburbs because I knew
They're like
that
Americanified, like a little bit more simplified, or a little boring.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I really appreciate the that there is this passion of this generation, the millennials that are saying like, no, we need to make fresh options and we need to make good options and we need to make it look amazing.
Yes.
So I really like the branding. I appreciate the thoughtfulness when businesses take the time to like think through and really relate to their customers. So yes, I appreciate your whole
Thank you.
brands.
Yeah, so you picked up on the freshness. Like, I mean, and if it wasn't
Hmm.
fresh, you probably wouldn't like it, or you probably would be like, all right, but you can't fake the funk. It's good.
It's good, and we get the feedback. We outsell all the competitors in stores. Thanks to data again. But yeah, it's the best. That's definitely for sure.
You mentioned that like this brand came about because you wanted to create something for the community. And I think we are in this like generation that is in between our parents' generation and that work ethic and that mindset, and also like trying to do things differently, realizing that not everything was the best for us. I love how you touched on mental health and making that a priority in your company. I think it's so important for companies these days to really think through their how they value their employees. Like I know companies love their customers and do things for their customers, but it's so important to also focus on the employees. How were the conversations as you're building this company, knowing that you want to scale, but also knowing that you want to do things differently from corporate America? So, how did you think through the company culture?
Yeah, there was a couple things that I always kind of raw with. Okay, so I've worked for several places before I started my own company, and there were some things that I really liked and admired about some of the places I worked, and there was also some really bad things about some of the places that I worked, and um, I kind of knew what I wanted to bring to the culture. I personally didn't really excel in a very corporate environment. I didn't really like it. I always felt like it held people back versus it held the company back, being so boxed into certain areas, or job titles, or being hired because of this particular degree. Or it just felt like people, in my opinion, people are so much more talented than what's on a resume. So I always wanted to have a company that I would allow people to come in and prove themselves, or work on a passion project, and just really challenge themselves. So that's always been the conversation with anybody who has joined the company, is like, this is a vision, this is a plan. And by the way, the vision is go nationally, have this product on a national level, not just in Illinois, but like next step, hopefully next year, will be all over the Midwest, and then we'll see where we can go from there. And so they know that they know that we're a Latino brand, a Mexican brand, and they also like that. And we're pretty flexible too. So anybody who like joined the team, I was just always transparent. Like, this is the plan. This is what I want to do. I can't afford to pay you as much as these other corporations can, but if you're willing to put in the work, like, I really feel like we're gonna get a big reward from this one day.
Yeah, 100%. I believe that.
Yeah.
I
Thank
believe that
you.
too.
Thank you.
Like, I know community is super important. How have in-person events like really helped the outreach and to get your name out there?
I mean, tremendously. I think,
Especially the first couple of years,
yeah,
right?
and the fact that the brand sort of grew organically on its own, like the first few years too. Kind of just goes to show the support when we were at those events, how much of a pool we did have. There was so many people that were coming up to us, like congratulating that the brand was doing so well and that we were a part of, said event. And so it was comforting. Those are like the times where we're like, okay, like these are the customers face to face now.
Yeah, that's our favorite part.
We're seeing like maybe 300 accounts, but there's thousands
To
and
get like a
thousands of people
reaction from a
buying it,
customer,
yeah.
like at a festival, like, damn, like this is good.
Yeah.
Or like,
Good
oh
stuff.
yeah, I met you guys years ago at this festival and I've been following you guys ever since. Or it's, you know how many times I get like, I'm so proud of you guys, I've been seeing you guys, people we've never met before. Like, I want to say one thing, like the Chicago, the culture here in Chicago is really, really supportive. Like, I'm so thankful for everybody in the Chicagoland area. Like, I didn't really know what to expect by starting a business, but like I definitely did not expect all of the support, all of the just the backing and the compliments and the constant like either like the financial support of buying the product or just like supporting us on our social media, giving us a pat on the back. We need it. So if you're listening out there, keep doing it.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Yeah, but for real, thank you so much. And I think the fact that the marketing is, so much driven on social media now that even when you hear that you don't have to buy it, you just have to share it. That's very true because, someone could be out at a store looking for something or craving something in general and just happens to flick by your Instagram or your story or
Yeah.
your recommendation means a lot to
Yeah.
us. So we really appreciate that.
But in person is just so much better.
Yeah, oh for sure. Yeah, you really you get a lot of feedback. You always get ideas of which flavors you like. Oh, you guys should do. Some of the craziest things you probably have ever heard of. But it's good to hear the feedback.
And it's good to change. So most of our business is business to business, wholesale. So Danny's usually like literally in front of a screen on the phone, like talking to accounts, printing invoices, like. So when we do get a festival, which is super stressful right before the festival, but when we're at the festival, it's like a lot of fun. And
I'm still stressed at the festival, but for the most part, it is fun too.
Yeah, like we have to set everything up. Like we set up our tents, we bring in the coolers, we have to create shift schedules, labor, volunteers, like
it's a lot of work.
Product, like we can't make sure that we can't make too much because we don't want to waste it if it doesn't sell. But if we don't make enough, then it's just like this whole logistical like nightmare.
Yeah, but we've been doing it for a few years now, and it's never perfect. That's what we're always
improving.
There's always a margin of error we prepare ourselves for, but we're always improving. Yeah. So that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can imagine like that balance of emotions. Like you're excited to be out there and finally doing something different than just sitting at home in front of the computer and doing all of the office work, but also like you're out there.
Yeah.
And you're having to like think about work and also interact. So I can totally understand the
shift,
the mental.
Yeah, definitely.
So this next question, maybe you both can answer. Is there anyone that has really influenced you in your life to get to this point?
I have a more like indirect influence, and I know Danny can say the same because we have similar backgrounds like a lot of people do. We're both like born here. Our parents were born in Mexico. Well, first I want to say like I actually did not have any role models that had a business in my life, and I don't. Your dad had a business, right? But he was always a solo working man. So I think he played a big role in your terms of entrepreneurship. I'll let you tell your story, but
no, I mean, just
so I didn't really have like a role model per se, and I don't want to like hurt anyone's feelings or anything like that, but really like I didn't have anybody that I could go to be like, oh, this is how you set up an LLC, or oh, did you know that you can't get a bank loan until your business is at least 2 years old, like with most common banks? Things like that I didn't really know. I didn't really have anybody to go to. We just kind of figured it along the way. But in terms of an influence, it's always been in the back of my mind, like I owe it to my parents who came here and sacrificed so much. And especially now that I'm a mother, I can see it even more now. I already appreciated them, but now I appreciate it even more. Um, they're working really hard and, blue collar jobs. And my mom, like, just retired from a factory. Like, she would come home in pain every day. And still to this day, she has pain, like, from all those years working in a factory line and being mistreated there. I just feel that the least I can do for my parents is grow up or be better, be in a better situation that they had me in. Like, just, I owe it to them to come up. I can't just let it all go to waste.
Yeah,
That's kind of that's my influence.
Yeah, I mean, it would be very similar to me. Like Natalie said, my dad was always wanting to work for himself, so my entrepreneurial like mindset always came there. So when Natalie and Javi were doing Big Mich, I'm like, dude, perfect. Like now I
Do the same.
can insert myself somewhere and try to
Make a difference.
Try to make a difference here. So yeah, my parents the same as Nats. They worked factory jobs. Up until my dad was like running his businesses, but even when he was running his business, he kept his jobs because he wanted to, just make a lot of money. So they've shown me discipline for sure. They always call me a robot at work, so I'm very much, like by my rules and by things I need to get done. So I owe that to my parents. We didn't have, we couldn't ask our parents for college help. Like I didn't go to college, but Natalie did, and she's, we couldn't even go to them for those types of things. So we're still finding ourselves in those situations where the pioneers in our families for a lot of this. So like Nat said, like we have to at least perform to our fullest potential, so that they don't come in here saying like, what do we do this for,
Yeah, like I feel like it's almost like out of respect for them that we have to at least try, It's a conversation that I have like with my mom sometimes, like it's a little bit harder for us as where we're at in the economy and things that change than it was back then to like own a house. I currently don't own a house yet, things like that. But yeah, like I owe so much. So yeah.
For this season, it's all around like food and drinks. And so I have been asking everyone what their favorite food or drink was when they were growing up, and is it the same now?
Ooh.
Mine was like a bag of crunchy curls with like an RC, but yes.
During the holidays? Or you're saying like
in general,
and in general.
In general.
Okay.
Wow.
Damn.
Okay, what my favorite drink when I was a kid was lemonade. But I would like that powdered Minute Maid stuff, or it was Country Time powdered lemonade. And I would put it in a Ziploc bag and just like eat the sugar like straight up like that. But to this day, my favorite drink is lemonade. Like I prefer it fresh now, But even like my micheladas have a bunch of lime in it. Yeah, I love citrus. This is my thing. And pozole.
Food, pozole.
But I don't know about a kid. Like, I don't know. I think a kid, I just love like fast food.
No, I could eat like a steak.
Pizza.
And whiskey. I'll have whiskey.
Oh, so classy. Steak and whiskey.
When you're in your mid-30s, I guess, yeah, you probably won't want.
You have to go for quality or for quantity.
I think that upsets my stomach now, crunchy curls.
I know. As you get older, like our stomach is not the same.
How about you? What's your favorite food? And is it still your favorite?
I would love tortas ahogadas when I would go to Mexico with my family, and I still do. Like I look forward to eating that when I go to Mexico. But I remember drinking like Kool-Aid with the powder and the sugar, and it was so good. I think my favorite junk food now has to be like hot Cheetos, and I always prefer the ones in Mexico.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The seasoning's different.
It hits different. So also I think the corn is like it's more of a crunchier chip.
Yes.
Really good. The Doritos from Mexico are good too. They're better than the American ones for sure.
It's the density.
Yeah.
Yes.
So good.
Yeah. Yeah, but I remember my dad will always drink RC. It was like RC was better than any other like Coke or Pepsi.
So my childhood was in Colorado, and then my teenage years were in St. Louis, Missouri. I never saw RC until I moved to Chicago. So it's like a
Chicago. Yeah, I grew up in back of the yards on 47th and Paulina, and then we moved up to the burbs when I was a teenager. But that was always like at the corner
It's a
liquor stores
RC.
was the RCs. Yeah, so
now it's me. RC is synonymous with pizza,
yeah,
right?
yes, because most of the pizza places give
They'll
it.
sell you with it. They'll give you the free RC with
Like,
them.
here, take this.
Yeah.
So because I have kids and because I am so inspired by like my father building his business and the influence that he had in my life, I like to talk about like what do I want to bring for the next generation? Like how am I going to pass down like my cultural legacy to the next generation? So, do you have any encouragement or advice for the next generation yourselves as you built this business and learned through experience?
I guess in different areas, I have tons of advice.
Yeah, same here. I think it would be like but overall for me, it would be that there's always moments of uncertainty. Like, like you kind of wake up every day thinking to yourself, like, damn, like, should I wake up and go to this job today, or should I do what I've been wanting to do for like the longest time? And both are leaps and risks, no matter what. Like if you choose to stay at this 9 to 5 every day you're waking up to, and like that's a risk. If you decide to, do what you've been wanting to do for your whole life, and you've been putting off, that's also a risk. So kind of you just kind of have to outweigh. Maybe it's more internal than it is external, but as far as external help, there's always resources, always people to talk to reach out to, and if you don't have that, you're in the wrong circle. You know what I'm saying? Like, you need to surround yourself around people that want what you want in some capacity, and there's always resources out there. So reach out to us, for sure.
Yeah, I would say like the broadest statement I could make is if you are interested in entrepreneurship and or a new career or something like that, I would tell you now that there's not going to be an opportunity that's just going to knock on your door. It's not. I know for even me sometimes still, but like you kind of wait for one day I'm going to do this, and one day I'm going to start my business here, and one day that's not going to happen. You have to kind of create that opportunity for yourself. And that's like a good advice I have, because I just feel like this world is just a competitive world, but luckily for us living here in the United States, we do have opportunity. I'm not going to say everything is perfect in the United States, because it's definitely not, but there is a little bit less limit on us than there would be in another country. We do have more opportunity for jobs and creating and access to loans and financial things, like unlike what it would be in Mexico. But yeah, you got to kind of carve it out for yourself, and there's not going to be a day where you're just going to wake up and someone's going to present you with a plan and you're just going to be this successful entrepreneur. No, it's like a day by day thing. It's not an overnight thing. And then moving forward to the next generation, I want to take into account that more and more Latinos are doing stuff. So if you're a generation behind me, then I'm going to hope to make my Gen Z Latinos proud. As a millennial, I feel like the generation before us, it's kind of hard to say who kind of messed this whole thing up for us.
Yeah, we're always blaming the previous generation for something.
Yeah,
right?
But like, I don't want to leave the Gen Zs hanging like we were kind of left hanging. I think we're about to go through another recession, or
I think there's more synergy between us and the Gen Z. I think that we need to start showing some more
support.
Yeah, some more support. There needs to be more humility between generations.
Yeah, because all this other stuff can't happen again. I don't think we have room for that. But I guess what could a legacy be, or advice? Oh, and also indulge in your culture. Like, I think me personally, with my son, I'm having a really hard time with sticking to Spanish because I naturally speak more English. I went to all English schools. So my master plan luckily for me, my parents are building a house in Mexico, so is to take my son on a yearly basis to make sure that he is able to enjoy Mexico, his Mexican heritage. And I also hyphened his last name to Garcia Solis because that's more of a Mexican tradition, and things like that. So sometimes you have to step foot in whatever country you can, if you can.
Yeah, I think with like the whole like especially like the metaverse now, like people are just not thinking they need to immerse themselves like physically outside of there's so much transparency on your phone and then accessing the world that they're like,
you think that's the world.
Why should I go to Italy or aspire to go to Australia or wherever it may be? Like it's all digitally in front of you. So I think it's important to remove yourself from comfort sometimes and put yourself in situations where you have no idea, because you learn a lot about yourself in those situations too. That's cliche, but it's for real.
Yeah, I know.
I agree 100%. I know that it's really hard when you are proud of your culture and you're creating something that elevates and showcases who you are and like your cultural legacy. But then also, like you said, like we are growing up here and I also speak predominantly English and it's really hard to stick to that, especially when my kids are like, what'd you say? I don't understand. And I'm like, okay, repeating it in English. So yeah, I get it. It is really, really hard, but I think it's that actively pursuing and trying to keep it up. Anyway, this conversation has been amazing. I am so thankful for the wisdom that you shared, for sharing your story and the encouragement. Where can people find you? And do you have anything special coming up for the holidays?
So you can find Big Mich in one of hopefully 300 retailers near you, but you can go to bigmich.com/locations, and then you allow the app to track your location, or you could put your zip code in and it tells you what store is closest.
And if you're outside Illinois, then we can ship it to you. And we can send it over, and you usually get it in like 3 days. So,
4 days. Usually around the holidays, there's a little bit of a.
Oh, right. We have to say that disclaimer,
There's a little bit of a delay. Exciting stuff in the next year. We have some really good campaigns coming up that, we want to emphasize on like the dry January where people aren't drinking alcohol, just to kind of show the duality of Big Mich, and you don't have to drink it always with alcohol, especially, if you want to take a break from achieving any goals next year. So some other exciting stuff. Festivals that are coming up.
We dropped out chamoy about a couple months ago, and we're focusing on building up that chamoy and have to go try it. So we have a new rim dip. You've had chamoy before, right? Yeah. So we call it a juicy limon. That's the flavor that we decided to call it, and it took months to build it and correct it and fix it. There's other chamoys out there, but believe me, this one's so good.
It's the one. It's
so good.
That's all you need.
So we're just focusing on current products, current counts, but yeah, we're gonna have fun with some campaigns, and we have a really awesome graphic designer on our team and photographer that we're excited to have. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for taking time to chat with me today. I'm so appreciative of both of you. And I think anybody who is listening needs to, if you haven't already, get in touch and try some michelada mix and the new products. So thank you so much, and we will talk soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
What an amazing story. A company that started with just $600 has grown so much into a well-known brand in the community. They are passionate about honoring traditions, their culture, and extending a helping hand to others as well. As they said, it's all para la gente. Okay, amigos, thank you so much for listening. I can't believe we have reached the end of season 6. There will be one more episode next Tuesday as I close out the season. So after you listen, feel free to take a screenshot to post on Instagram and tag @Elevating La Cultura or send me a DM. You can also comment on this YouTube video if you're watching online. I always like to hear from people and how they resonate with the stories that I share. So leave a review on Apple Podcasts so we can get more ears listening to these stories and we can continue elevating la cultura. All right, enjoy the rest of your day, afternoon, evening, whenever you're listening, y nos vemos next week. Bye.